Alright, let's get into it.
What? You're telling me there's another mysterious death linked up with the Obama family? So get this. Obama's 30-year-old housekeeper was just found dead in his former DC residence. And I know right now you're getting deja vu. We're not talking about the Obama's chef, who also died in mysterious circumstances. Sorry, it was Obama's current home, the one that he actually lives in right now in DC. But guess what else? Even crazier, the Obamas were there at the time of the person passing away. Now look, don't forget, their chef passed away by drowning in Martha's Vineyard. But do you want to know the craziest part of all of this? Whether the Obamas or, these people right here, this will continue to happen over and over again, but I guarantee you that nothing will ever get done about this stuff, ever. And if something does come up, we know it's just a distraction because something else crazy in the world is happening they don't want us to pay attention to.
I did a little bit of research on this. I cannot find any news outlets or specific articles that are talking about this that's not on Facebook or Reddit. Now, his personal chef did accidentally drown in a paddleboarding incident near Martha's Vineyard, but I cannot find anything else about this housekeeper. So if anyone has any information on that, please feel free to share it. And by the looks of it, if given the opportunity, you may want to avoid working for the Obamas.
Guys, another country has placed AI in their government. The UAE have just announced that over the next 2 years, they plan to convert 50% of their government services into what they called agentic AI. That basically means AI systems that don't just assist humans, but can actually make decisions and carry out tasks on their own. Habibi, you sure? In fact, according to the country's own prime minister, he said the goal is to introduce autonomous execution and decision-making with minimal human oversight, even describing it as sort of an executive partner to the government. But this doesn't mean that AI is going to start writing laws by itself. Humans still got to do that with prompts. But what do you guys think? Is this less scary than it sounds? And it's kind of like when the government started using computers. Or we cook.
Okay, so I have a theory, and it's not really my theory, it's an overall theory of what's happening. All of these AI data centers and all of these countries that are starting to convert to AI assistants to basically run the country is all leading towards a one world system where everything will be unified through AI systems. Just have AI control everything, tell the people in power, hey, this is a good idea, you should do it. The people in power say, okay, we'll do that. And it would be as simple as that, because it seems like all of these countries are starting to go towards this AI movement to where they basically want the AI to run the country. It's going to be a very interesting time, that's for sure. But it does make me wonder if this is a ploy to merge countries together to be one complete nation, basically to be ruled under one organization of just a bunch of people in power. Let me know your thoughts and theories about this one.
They have actually just found it. This is all the good news from today in 60 seconds. Florida has now actually banned convicted animal abusers from ever owning pets in their life. Pandas are now no longer considered of great risk of extinction in the wild, for these were one of the most endangered species, but they are coming back. A very new laboratory study has just shown something insane. Yes, they are actually doing this. No, we don't fully know exactly what this means. But reportedly, what their early studies have shown is that dandelion root and the extracts that come from that part of the plant can actually destroy up to 95% of a tumor in just 2 days. I will keep you posted on that one. Supermarkets in Asia are ditching plastic. In Thailand now they're replacing plastic with banana leaves. I'm not sure about that. In the Netherlands, they are actually closing down prisons at quite a high rate. More than 20 prisons have closed in the last decade, which is phenomenal, as crime rates are falling drastically over the past few years. And Australia has come up with a one-of-a-kind machine that is in early testing that is capable of freezing off tumors and relieving pain without any surgery.
I think every state should have some kind of public animal abuse database. This is a law that has been passed, effectively of 2026. It's called Dexter's Law. I mean, that one makes a lot of sense to me. Now, as far as pandas go, it almost seems like they're just waiting for extinction, but it's good to hear that they're starting to come back. Let me know your take on all this. Hey, if you haven't done so already, and if you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a video like this 2 times a day, Monday through Saturday, early in the morning and later in the afternoon. At the moment, I am uploading a 3rd episode at 12 o'clock in the morning, or 12 a.m., midnight some may say. This is just an experimental phase, but if you want to, check it out. And for everyone that's made it this far, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
This is why I'm going to try to wear 100% cotton as much as possible this summer.
Researchers did a study way back in 2008 where they put polyester pants on female dogs. Why? To see if fabric type affected fertility, and it did, wildly. For a whole year, these groups of dogs were either 100% polyester, 50-50 cotton blend, 100% cotton, or 100% wool. One group or nothing as a control. And the dogs in the polyester, almost 75% couldn't get pregnant. Listen to this, the progesterone levels dropped. Meanwhile, dogs in wool and cotton had a 100% success rate getting pregnant. They discovered a measurable electrostatic field that formed around the reproductive organs on these dogs that were wearing polyester, and that interfered with hormone signaling. It was twice as high in the 100% poly compared with the blend, but there was no such charge on the dogs wearing cotton and wool. Now, I'm not saying your leggings are making you infertile, but if this happens in mammals, and we're mammals, maybe it's worth thinking about.
I looked this up, this is an actual study that's been done, and sure enough, everything that was told was true here, according to these studies. That's very interesting because a lot of leggings, and/or clothes in general, are made of polyester, and if they're not, it's normally a 50-50 mix of polyester and cotton. I think this is something to take note of. I'm very guilty of wearing polyester clothing. I mean, it's basically everywhere. I really want to get into the linen type of clothing, but it's so expensive, and it almost all looks like it was made in the medieval times, which honestly, that I don't have a problem with. It's just the cost that I have a problem with. But I should start collecting some linen wear. This was a very interesting study.
It's videos like these that give you a reason to be scared of the dark. If your parents were like mine, they told you there was nothing in the dark that wasn't there in the light. However, I'm beginning to think that's not necessarily true. Just a moment, I'm going to show you a video. It's a little older. It's not the best quality, so I know I'm going to hear it. It's an older video, and I don't even think it's from this country by the guys talking. He's not speaking English. He is in a haunted building, and he comes face to face with something that I think is probably one of the creepiest things that you can encounter paranormal. That's a kid. What we think would be a kid ghost. This thing's just toying with him, but it's certainly not a kid. It's something evil. These are what nightmares are made of. Check this out.
¿Qué quiere?
Check this out. Nope. Time to leave when that happens. It's freaky.
That definitely is an older video. I've seen it before quite a long time ago, way before AI came out. Now, do I believe it to be a real video? It's really hard to tell. It could be a real video in the sense that was a kid running across the hall, but was it a ghost or a demon? Let me know what you think.
I duet one New Age video, and now this is what my FYP looks like. On the plus side, it's actually confirming a lot of we as Christians, what we believe in the Spirit is happening, because Jesus told us. Interestingly, this gentleman quotes the Bible. Jewish people are saying that prophecy is being fulfilled for them. People that are of the Muslim faith believe that prophecy is also being fulfilled. And collectively, this group is saying that there is superheroes, or there are entities that are coming to help in some way, shape, or form, which is probably why they're pushing the UFO narrative, which we already know. We've kind of hashed that out. They also collectively will say that the evil will be taken out. Now, they have part of that right. There will be a mass exodus of sorts, but it won't be the evil. There is another creator on this app, I can't remember his name right now, but he mostly talks about these solar flares right here. It's very interesting because it's very scientific, and he does reference the Bible. Of course, his interpretation of scripture is not correct, but they're all basically saying the same thing, that everything's kind of acting weird and to prepare for some kind of major event. This gentleman in this video even talks about Apophis, which is going to come in 2029. So when you look at what the Bible says, the wormwood star, which he also references, will come halfway through the tribulation. So if it's going to come in 2029, we gotta be out of here. All of the voices in this space are feeling very, very excited about what they think is to come. And they're telling people, be sure to strengthen your aura, to get grounded, put your feet on the grass, and to detox and all of these things, because it's going to help you to ascend. That's not what's going to help you to ascend. The only thing that's going to get people off of the ground to ascend is a belief in Jesus Christ. And interestingly, this man says, Mr. Endgame 144, I have nothing but love for you, brother. I pray that you will see beforehand. I don't know if the 144 was in reference to the 144,000 that will stay behind. You seem like a brilliant gentleman, and maybe perhaps you can help them, because we're about to fly.
Please feel free to let me know your take on all this, whether that be if you're a Christian or a Star Child. I have noticed a big rise of people talking about the rapture again. I'm sure we're going to run across one of those videos here eventually. That's another topic that's really starting to pick up again. But let me know what you guys think about all this.
There's this phenomena since people started smoking DMT. These people report being locked out of the DMT realm. Not only can they not access it, but the creatures, the entities in there, which they refer to them as machine elves.
Yeah.
It's the entities that live within the DMT realm. But these people, they go in, and these machine elves are like, get out. You're no longer allowed in here. And so these people talk about, like, they can go in this realm that they're in. It feels like for thousands of years they're in this realm. It's super weird.
Yeah, I watched a video where a dude was like, no matter how much I do, he was like, I can't get back. It does nothing anymore.
It's like everyone knows what these machine elves are.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing about DMT. These people all see the same entities.
I've talked to somebody. They experience like the crystal creatures.
Yeah,
like,
and there's different types of creatures. There's like
light.
there's like the snake, and then there's the machine elves. There's just a bunch of different creatures that everyone sees, and it's like, that's not a coincidence.
You get invited to the DMT realm. Be cool about it.
Here we go.
Great, so many people went to this DMT realm that these machine elves are like, okay, this is enough. Get out of here. You are no longer welcome. Dang, it's that bad? There's that many people going to the realm? And then the real question is, why are the machine elves kicking people out? What have the people really done in those realms that the machine elves said, okay, enough's enough?
Boy, do I have a video for you today. This comes from a witness who was at a construction site. He was alerted by some odd noises coming from one of their metal containers. And that's when he began recording, and he captured something he could not explain. Like, this container folds in on itself. Now, some people are claiming this is due to the elements, the weather, but others don't agree completely. So what's going on here? Take a look at this footage, watch it again, comment below, tell us what you think.
Thought I heard something down. Oh my god.
I think it's safe to say that that's AI generated. Now, at first, I was like, okay, maybe something exploded inside the cargo container, making it implode on itself. Sure. But then the constant rumbling back and forth as if there was something thrashing around inside. Nah. And then on top of it, the monotone, non-expressive AI generated voice is a dead giveaway. I think it's AI generated. Let me know your opinions.
A plane landing at a Newark, New Jersey airport hit a light fixture, a light pole, and a truck as it came in for a landing over the New Jersey Turnpike. You know, when I saw this, I thought, you gotta be pretty low to hit that light pole, but how low do you gotta be to hit a truck? Yeah, this just happened yesterday with a United Airlines flight with over 200 passengers landing in New Jersey. Thank God none of the passengers or the crew were hurt, but the person in the truck wasn't so lucky. They were taken to a hospital, although later it said minor injuries. Having a plane hit your truck and only getting minor injuries? That's actually kind of lucky in a way. Not lucky that a plane hit your truck, but lucky that they survived it. What's with all these basically random averted catastrophes that we've been having lately? Now, even though in this case the plane hit the light pole and the truck, it obviously could have been way worse, and we've been having a lot of these events in the past couple months. Is it just that we're seeing more of this stuff because of social media? Or is more of it happening? I don't really know.
Yeah, this was a really nasty event. It's all over TikTok. Luckily, the guy is okay. That is a very lucky moment. And it was captured on dash cam as well. And I would say social media definitely brings it to our attention much faster. But with that, these plane incidents are happening more and more frequently. It's not something that's been happening, and because of social media, we're just more aware of it. These accidents have been happening more and more frequently. 2025 was a horrible year for aircrafts. 2024 was not that great of one either, and it's starting to look like 2026 may not be any better. Let's just hope for the best.
Do you guys remember this? Element 115. I remember it because I played a lot of Call of Duty Nazi Zombies when I was a kid, and this was a big part of the lore. I thought this was just a made-up thing because it's not naturally found on Earth, and it's kind of just like we didn't know if it existed or not. But element 115 is actually real, and it's called element 115 because it is the element with 115 protons. It's called moscovium. Like I said, this is completely man-made. It's not found on Earth. As far as I know, humans were only able to make this one time in a lab in Russia, and it immediately decayed into lighter material. It's very unstable. We were able to make it by smashing atoms together in a particle accelerator. Specifically, we had to smash together americium and calcium. But we can literally only get it to exist for a fraction of a second before it immediately decays. This is Bob Lazar, and he actually popularized element 115 back in the 1980s. If you've never heard of him, essentially he is the most well-known UFO and alien whistleblower ever. And he was telling the public that aliens were using element 115 to generate gravity fields and power their spacecrafts. But we have no idea if this would work because we have no way to create a stable version of element 115.
Hear me out. What if there's no need for a stable version of element 115? What if all you need is a machine that's capable of creating rapid amounts of element 115 to feed whatever system you need it to feed instantaneously? There is no stable version. Once it's created, it has to be used right then and there. If it disappears within a millisecond, you have to use it within a half of that.
I don't really believe a lot of alien stuff, and when I say that, I'm not saying that I don't believe in the existence of aliens. I do. I just think that a lot of stuff gets blamed on aliens when I don't think it's aliens. For example, let's think about things like what used to happen to cows in crop fields, right? Or even crop circles themselves. You know, they'd find a cow completely skinned or boiled alive somehow, or some crazy whatever, you know what I mean? Or crop circles even, like, it just looks like one big target, right? It's strange. Or people getting abducted and not remembering what happened to them, feeling like they got probed in some way, right? Think about all of those things and remove the idea of little green men. Get the idea of the gray alien out of your head. Who could do this if it wasn't the alien? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying aliens don't exist. I do believe aliens exist. I just think a lot of stuff gets blamed on them when it's not. I think weapons testing gets blamed on aliens. I think things that happen to human beings that is unexplainable gets blamed on aliens. I think weapon testing on animals that we see with cows and like that, just seeing if they can do something to a large subject and instantly destroy it, that's just military weapons testing. That's what I think. Sorry. I'll stop talking before they skin me, but all I'm saying is get rid of the idea of little green men and look at all of the alien stuff and think to yourself, who could do that? If it wasn't aliens, who would be doing that?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that that's the overall idea. There's really no aliens. I mean, there could be aliens, but they're not the ones doing all of this stuff that people think aliens are doing. Definitely governmental or militarian.
They have just done something never before done. And yes, in this one court hearing, there was over 47,000 crimes. Oh my, what? This is happening right now in El Salvador, and you probably haven't heard about this. Nearly 500 alleged members of the MS-13 gang have been tried in a courtroom all at once. Yeah, nearly 500. Now, these crimes are pretty serious, you know, murder, extortion, trafficking, even running parallel state. And the prosecutors have said that these crimes added up to over 47,000 offences in total between them. Now, this is happening because back in 2022, after one of the deadliest weekends in the country's history, the government actually declared here a state of emergency. This changed rules, meaning they could arrest people without a warrant, hold them longer without trial, and even therefore try hundreds of people in one case, in one sitting. Now, we've all seen the El Salvador mega jail where all of these gang members are basically just being held. It's brutal, and most of the defendants aren't actually inside of the courtroom, as you can see on the videos. They are all sitting inside of the mega jail. Only a couple went off to court, and they're all watching it on Zoom. Oh my god. So what they're doing here is, instead of being judged individually for your crimes, they're all being prosecuted as part of one criminal organization. So if you're just one part of a gang, you're responsible for all of the crimes. Now, this is kind of controversial out there at the moment, because crime has dropped massively and the country is way, way safer right now. But human rights groups are warning that people might not get fair individual defense, which is true, and innocent people could end up getting caught inside of this horrendous jail because they can just arrest people without warrants.
That is scary. I do feel bad for anyone that's caught in the crosshairs. There's probably some people that were forced into the gang that didn't even do anything harmful that are going to be suffering that kind of punishment. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one.
Y'all can't tell me you don't see a person right there. There is clearly a person standing in a white shirt at the end of this tunnel. Now watch this. You clearly see a person walking at the end of this tunnel. This urban explorer walks all the way down this tunnel. There are no openings, no doors, nothing. And it's a dead end. This video was taken by Urbex Hill at the Molly Stark Sanatorium in Louisville, Ohio. Now, this hospital was open to treat people with tuberculosis during the tuberculosis outbreak. And unfortunately, even though they treated thousands of people, they have no records of the people that actually died in this sanatorium. Obviously, with an outbreak like tuberculosis, though, I'm sure there were plenty of deaths. And with a video like this, it shows that at least one of the spirits of the people who passed in this sanatorium are still here. Now, people argue over this video saying they don't see anything.
At first, I did not see the white figure, but looking back, I do see it. It could be real, as far as that being some kind of entity or even a person. Once he ran down the long tunnel, there was a manhole at the top. Someone could have climbed up it. I'm not saying that's what happened. It could very well have been a ghost, but there are other options.
Many people ask how to get rid of Wi-Fi. So what you're going to do, you're going to get an Ethernet cord and a USB adapter like that. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to log into your router. So you're going to go to the back of the box, you're going to find an IP on there, you're going to log into your router on whatever device you have, and then you're going to find all these wireless settings. So you have guest Wi-Fi, which you're going to turn off 2.4, 5 gigahertz. You're also going to turn off all your regular wireless. Make sure all this is turned off. Now you're going to take that Ethernet cord that you bought and you're going to stick it into the back of your router. And then next what you're going to do is you're going to take the other side of the Ethernet cord with the adapter, stick it right into your computer, and you're going to wait for it. And in about a second, you got the internet without Wi-Fi. Now someone's going to ask, well, why did you get rid of Wi-Fi? Well, microwave sickness, headaches, dizziness, sleep issues, insomnia, fatigue, nausea, heart palpitations, memory loss, ringing of the ears, skin rashes, muscle and joint pain, leg and root pain, tingling, irritability, numbness, nosebleeds, depression, and anxiety. Doesn't sound too safe. And just for the record, my phone's on airplane mode right now, and see how everything's off with an Ethernet cord? You can do it for your phones too. And if you got 5G, turn it to 4G or airplane mode. And there'll always be those Muppets who just say it's all safe, but the US Navy did 2,000 studies in 1971 on the dangers of wireless technology. So it's been known. And here's what they found: depression, impotence, anxiety, lack of concentration, dizziness, sleepiness, insomnia, irritability, chest pain, and tremors. Probably a good idea to have wires. And last but not least, here's a $13 book that's 600 pages long on the topic.
I mean, he's not wrong. If you don't want to use Wi-Fi and you want to go straight cable, that's how you would do it. And truly, that is probably a good idea. It's a lot of extra steps, but overall, I think it could be worth it. Or at least worth a try.
Okay, these P-47s and P-52s are totally chopped, but who are they? Well, these are the claims that the late Amy Eskridge discussed before she was unalived, claiming that the beings that we call aliens might not be aliens after all. They may be us from the future, Ultraterrestrials. And they kind of look like this famous painting from Edvard Munch. Anyway, P-47 and P-52 meaning present plus 47,000 years and 52,000 years respectively. And the reason they exist supposedly starts with an apocalypse-level event in our near future. This calamity wipes out almost everything, and humanity splits into two groups. One goes underground, the P-47s, and the other, the P-52s, somehow manage to survive on the surface. Over tens of thousands of years, they evolve in different ways. The underground ones become what we know as the Greys. And the surface survivors, the P-52s, remain more human-looking, although they grow taller, and these could be seen as the Nordic-style aliens that people talk about. And these two types are the most commonly reported alien species from contactees. And then both of these groups independently managed to invent UFO craft and time travel, and decided to go back to our time. But for what reason? Well, if you've heard of Project Looking Glass, this might make sense, but if you haven't, it's basically said to have been this top secret program where scientists invented a device that could look into the future. And what they saw was this unavoidable future catastrophe, and no matter what was done to change the timeline in our present day, the outcome was always the same. It's like something that has to happen to us. So maybe the P-47s and P-52s are here to make sure this event happens, or maybe they're trying to alter the timeline in some way, or for some other reason entirely. Now, I'm not saying that that's what these beings are, because there are a lot of different theories as to what the true nature is about aliens and the UFO phenomena, but what do you think?
I think it's a very fascinating theory. Do I believe it? Not really. It's definitely a fun one to think about. And I was actually just thinking about this last night. What if the Greys are the billionaires and millionaires that had bunker access to live underground for a long time, and that's what turned them into the Greys, and then the normal people that could not afford bunkers or just were common people, they became the Nordics. It's definitely an interesting theory.
The government is preparing for disclosure, but the Bible calls it a great deception. And this deception is so powerful that it's designed to rock the very foundation of your faith. Yeah, so let's talk about it. And if you don't know me, my name is Jake, and my channel is about preparing your heart and your mind for the return of the King, the Lord Jesus Christ, one video at a time. So when this disclosure happens and the veil is lifted, many are going to be deceived. Many Christians that have shallow roots, as Jesus described in the parable of the soils, are going to be uprooted. But the ones who are grounded, the elect, need to be prepared and need to understand exactly what is going on. Among many verses that Jesus gave us, he said in Matthew 24, that in the end there will be a time when many false deceivers would arise with many lies so deceptive that it would even shake the foundation and faith of the elect. And this isn't science fiction, okay? This is the war that has been going on with the Watchers since the beginning, and it is reaching a climax. And now they are running scared, and they're going to pull the veil off of our eyes, and they're going to reveal themselves. But the King is coming back, and we know that he's coming not to judge us entirely, but to judge the ones who created the chaos in the world from the beginning. So if you want to stand firm, you need these three encouragements I'm going to give you right now. Number one, be a workman that knows the truth. In 2 Timothy 2:15, we are encouraged to present ourselves to the Lord as a workman, someone who is diligent, studying the word of truth, knowing it accurately, and handling it properly. If you don't know the word, if you don't know the book, you will be prone to lies. And number two, don't get distracted, because when the disclosure happens, you have to be grounded in the truth so that you know what's going on. The fact that they're showing themselves is testimony to the reality that Jesus is coming back, and he's coming back soon. And they know that their time is short. Whatever alliances they have with the humans that are on the earth giving us this information, listen, doesn't matter. The Lord is on a timeline to return so that he can judge every single one of them. And number three, recognize the time that we're living in. And you don't need to be rocked or disturbed by any of this, because the Bible has already given us the story from the beginning. So the government calls it disclosure. The Bible calls it a great deception. And we were warned that the elect would be tested, the firstborn. And it's time for you, as one who is chosen, called to rule and reign with Christ, to stop being a spectator. Get in the Word, be a workman, as God encourages you to be, and handle the truth and know it for your own good.
You know, some people kind of get upset when I put videos on here like this, but to me, I think it's a very positive thing to spread a message like this. It can really uplift a bunch of people. And two, he's possibly not wrong. You know, it really all depends on what you believe in. And that's why this content actually fits very well with this format, I believe, because I find interest in it. And you know, what he is saying may not be far from the truth. Whatever they reveal during this disclosure may not be the truth. And that could mean a number of things, and this is one of the things to be aware of, at least in my opinion. But I do know a lot of people get really upset when I put religious type of stuff on my channel, but to me, I find it just as interesting as everything else. And also, it shares a good message. That's what I think anyways.
Okay, I'm sure this is a little far out there. However, when a conspiracy theory like sticks in my head, I've got to talk it out or it'll drive me crazy. I started going to a lot of local coffee shops. That's all I've been getting. You know, they have local coffee, they grind it right on site, and I've really enjoyed the lattes that I've been getting. However, I've always been a Starbucks lover. Like, you would have had to pry an iced brown sugar oat milkshake espresso out of my cold dead hands, right? However, I got one today. Same thing I always get. I did not change anything. Why is it crappy? Why does it taste like crappy coffee? And that kind of got my gears turning, because I'm sitting here and I've taken a few sips and my stomach is doing somersaults in the car, flipping over itself. So then my gears were turning and I said, of course it's crappy coffee. Of course, the #1 coffee distributor in the world. I mean, you can look up anywhere. Starbucks is the #1 coffee shop, right? Like, there's not anybody who doesn't know about Starbucks. Of course, that's who they give the crappy coffee to. Of course, that's where they're putting in to make people sick and make them feel bad, because everybody drinks Starbucks. Nobody's going to the little coffee shop that's owned by 3 friends on the corner. They're not going to have crappy coffee that has crap in it to make you feel bad. But Starbucks would. I know it's a little far out there. I'm sure it is. But I know that there's some of you that are probably on the same train that I am. It's crappy coffee, and they're doing it to make us sick on purpose. That's what has stuck in my head now.
I mean, honestly, a lot of other coffees are much better than Starbucks. You probably just started on Starbucks with some sugary drink and just enjoyed the sugar more than the coffee, and then actually got a good cup of coffee at a coffee shop and realized that Starbucks was trash. It could also be due to how the barista made your coffee. Maybe they didn't scale out the coffee beans properly and they gave you too much. There's a lot of factors into it, but is it the company intentionally making people sick? I mean, possibly.
I feel happy. I feel healthy. I'm a human being.
Same here, man. Same here. Alright guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. If today's your birthday, happy birthday, and if not, have a good day anyways.